Hi, it's Steve Hargadon, and we are closing in on the end of the third day of the 5th Annual Global Education Conference. Mayus Chavez is here with us. Mayus, welcome.
Hi, Steve. It's very nice.
So glad to have you here.
It's so nice to be here today. Hi,
Thank
everyone.
you. We're really glad that you are here. This is a phenomenal event. It's long. There's so much good material. We're sort of in the middle, and there's some fatigue going on. But I can't tell you how excited I am that you are kind of closing out the day for me. Our Australia crew comes on in about an hour, and they take over and go over our nighttime hours. Thanks to our sponsors and supporters. Special appreciation to IRON USA and the Global Campaign for Education, and these great groups that have done so much to bring this event to you for free. We do appreciate all of their support. Those of you who are participating live get a chance now to indicate where you are in the world. Look to the left of the map. You're looking for the vertical set of icons, and the star is the second one down. You double click on that, and then you can click on the map. Someone in Africa has made us international. Mayus is in Mexico, so we already were, but Colorado, Florida. Oh, do we have Govinda from Nepal? Govinda, every time you come in, you send a little thrill for me to see that star over there. Do keep going in the chat with notes, but I want to give Mayus as much time as possible. So Mayus Chavez is the developer of transmedia learning methods through 21st century digital resources in schools. She's a contributor to developing those resources to assess and promote cognitive and non-cognitive skills in K through 7 through the use of digital technology and storytelling that integrates a worldwide standardized curriculum through infinite ways of learning approaches that digital technologies provide. She's the principal of Jules Verne School in Mexico. Welcome, Mayus.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Hi, everyone. I'm very happy to be here with you today and talking about, well, what I have been doing for more than 10 years in the field of education and the way of connecting and to develop skills in students to perform in this global world. So I'm going to start with this. My presentation is called Finding Solutions to Global Issues, but mostly talk a little bit about Common Core Global Standards. And I have been doing research about how a student can perform in the 21st century. So I'm talking about education, and education today is facing big changes and great challenges, as all know. So today all nations, politicians have education on their agendas. They're worried about academic standards and scores within their countries and the search for high quality and equality in education for their young citizens. Moreover, they are now coping with international academic rankings, and they are being compared with other countries with different educational systems, as well as competing for jobs, for natural resources, and leadership not only in their own land but overseas. So today I will focus on examining this Common Core Global Academic Standards as a proposal of why not to make this like a kind of policy in for all countries as a need for students to perform in a global scenario that includes digital communications and technology developing worldwide. So I'm going to discuss a little bit this international context of some countries and the need of establishing new policies to set global academic standards. Today, we need to think more and to think about how we are going to prepare our students to be global citizens more than perform in standardized tests within a particular country. The society has changed, so we need to reconsider what are we doing with our school systems and the way we are addressing this issue. So, in education, as in any other enterprise, there is a need to establish goals and a strategy to reach those goals and the tools to evaluate and achieve them. So, the perspective about setting common core academic standards in each school or system is the need to give some results of what each country is doing. And this goes to, well, from parents to politicians. So it's a big need to rethink and consider what we as teachers need to do to adopt this mandatory curriculum and how we can embrace new skills, new abilities, and how we can establish a way to connect with other countries. Several studies, such as those from UNESCO, have been described the global needs for school instruction and students' performance to cope with real-world situations in this 21st century. There are some authors that they stated the need of this, but unfortunately, most countries are seeing education as a way to measure the development or the way a nation is growing through standardized tests. The establishment of common core standards in all countries is related with the political structure, social and cultural background, and also with economies and self-interest of groups from each country. Different interests, ideas, values, and beliefs diverge in individuals as well as in groups. Getting to the task to converge to set these common core academic standards as the educational basis for a whole country make us think about a policy that will rule over different groups, ideas, beliefs regarding education. And with that, modeling young minds. This fact have made common core academic standards a very difficult task for policymakers in many countries whose systems are based in freedom and independence. Common core standards would be, in some cases, like with the idea of socialism or against constitutional values. Well, to define the standards and academic contents and competencies that children of certain grades must learn, several countries have gathered experts and learn from other school systems and rely on new learning research and methods. The struggle between educators, psychologists, and policymakers are now facing a new issue to cope with. What to teach? What do children need to learn? How do they learn? Today, several researchers have developed theories about how people learn, how are the processes involved in teaching and learning, and how the mind acquires knowledge. As an example of this, we have the multiple intelligence theory from Howard Gardner, and that led educators to think about school system reforms and influencing policymakers and educational leaders throughout the world. With this educational revolution, there comes the need to define academic standards to promote high quality in all countries, as well as equality to reach all young citizens to be competitive not only in their communities, but also internationally. Because today, children are exposed to international competition. That is why countries are being looking for well-designed academic standards. That, as Gardner proposed, considering new competencies for a new learning and teaching processes. Unfortunately, for some countries, this has been a very difficult task. The author Cross describes in his book the struggle to decide what to teach, in which grade, and at which level. And it has been discussed and this kind of things have been discussed by politicians, think tanks, private corporations, teachers, school administrators, as well as parents and community members of many countries for decades, trying to define what quality and equality in education mean for them. As an example of the aim of performing in an international arena, US, the Common Core state standards are being analyzed by experts in different fields, whereas other countries' standards with better performance. We may find that, for example, Gottman, a study for the Institute of Mathematicians Science in New York University State, defined the Math Common Core standards. And for that, it was analyzed like more than 6 countries, like South Korea, Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan, and Taiwan. And Gottman says, it is my opinion that the Common Core draft description of mathematical proficient students is also unrealistic as to be detrimental. He says, the need for research-based age-appropriate curricula and the importance of high-level skills such as judgment, strategy, resourcefulness, I'm sorry about my English, but I hope everybody understands, and the ability to communicate. All of them state that high-level skills do not come without learning facts and practicing algorithms. This tells us that we need to discuss what is the best to teach and in which level, which content is the appropriate content our students need to learn. Initiatives all over the world are emerging around this kind of policy issue that considers the reform of school systems and the adoption of new Common Core standards based on international standards. How does a system with modest performance become great? There are some studies that are making this kind of analysis about how to perform better, not just in a country, but in the world. Today, we are not just performing in our state or country, but we perform, thanks to technology, with the world. So we must consider the different groups, their own ideas, values, beliefs, and how their own interests will affect our students, not in the future, but today. But since power and authority has to do with education, we need to understand different groups' interests in the race of power to impose their own ideas over others, leading to injustice based on classes, ideological difference, gender, and races. These facts are important to the policymakers since they are closely related to economics as a way to control and as a human need to gain authority. In my point of view, all of this makes it difficult to implement high-quality education in different countries. In my opinion, analyzing the social and cultural reality of every group involved in education is the key to implement any policy such as establishing common academic parameters through a whole nation and then for a global world. To me, when talking about common core global standards, the ideas and beliefs of the people involved in policy making is critical, as well as the partisans who will adopt those policies. Education has been important because it has been the way to influence young minds. This is why it is considered, from my point of view, as a social enterprise, but for others, a way to control and constrict people's actions to achieve power. This struggle has led to multiple strategies to develop policies according to their needs instead of looking for the good of people who will be educated. Talking about standards that could regulate academic achievement and desired students' outcomes worldwide, then will come an international issue. For many of us, it is known that we need to change because global changes as poverty, conflict, unemployment, inequality, environmental sustainability, and others, considering education as the root to short and long-term solution, yet today learning systems are not coping with the task. So, identifying the cultural, historical, political, and economical context of each country and understanding global parameters will guide a policy that could embrace global standards or common core global standards. I have been for several years looking how we can embrace as teachers if there is not this adoption of if we can't rely on politicians to adopt standards that consider all these different ideas, beliefs, religion, and cultural issues, how we as teachers can do this. So for this, when I needed to analyze the context of economical problems, how this can affect productivity, how this can affect social issues as poverty, as hunger, as health, environmental damages. So I am sure today that teachers as well as students can do a lot through technology. That is why I have been developing a method of how we can make students be aware of how they can adopt a way of looking at education as their own duty to help or connect with other students in the world, and make this, instead of mandatory, make this like an intrinsic motivation to study and to develop new competencies. Small countries as Malta have defined new common course competencies in math, literacy, and as the main cognitive purposes that define quality. Malta is a very small city, but that can change. That, well, they make it relevant to perform in to make students do, instead of just learning facts and be tested by standardized tests. Other countries, as Mexico, have been focusing on trying to higher their standards, making students be more prepared. But for them, or for us, being prepared means to learn more, to use more our memory, just as 200 years ago. I have the opportunity of studying a little bit this common core state standards, where you're embracing new competencies, but also they are focused on standardized among states the way kids will perform better on tests, not looking at what our world needs for our students to perform in a real world. Talking about the method I have been created in my own school, I find that integrating our curriculum, our program that is dictated by the government, since we are a country that has education under the federal policy, we need to integrate a project that can make students connect with other students and to find global issues that can be the same in other countries. So they can learn math, they can learn literacy, they can perform through arts, but always finding solutions to global issues. I have been working for more than 10 years with a community in British Columbia in Canada, and I have been learning a lot how they integrate in their curriculum the practice learning, how active learning, how projects, how they communicate, how they think, how they solve, how to adopt this challenge-based learning, how they can tell stories to others. And when I found technology, I found a better way to connect with other countries. So what we do is for each grade from kinder to 7th grade, each classroom adopts an issue that they feel it's an issue. Sometimes at the beginning of the school year, each grade or each group, each class, think the issues they are going to address are the things are concerning them locally. But when they start communicating with other countries through Skype conferences, through blogs, through their YouTube movies, they find out that there are other countries that have different issues, and they start thinking about others. So I think this common core global standards needs to be focused on this positive social change. So this is, I'm going to present you one of the projects we have made, or an example of how we make this possible. So we make this project like a unit designed with the aim of making, like Jules Verne students in Mexico, understand and practice real and active learning that really provokes social change in our 21st century within classrooms and towards international communities. Doing this make our students understand that they are doing something today for their environment in a global scenario, instead of thinking that they will need to grow to be grown-ups or to go to college to really change or to really perform in the world. Our students make this project through different areas. One of them is art. So the goal at the end of the school year is to make a campaign, a transmedia campaign. Transmedia means making or communicating through stories, through collaborative stories, and so they in different areas and through multiple media. So through the unit, each class of Jules Verne schools from K to 7 learn how to design and develop a project. This is important because they are active learners and they learn how to establish goals. So they consider knowing their own culture first of all, and then, as I mentioned before, they start knowing other countries' culture, so they can develop consciousness to lead to social change within school and towards a global community they live in. So through this kind of project, students understand that it's mandatory to understand and to work with people from different countries and cultures. And as you can see, that is part of what I was talking before about my study and proposal. Perform in global scenarios through social media and transmedia. Learn to live and share with others, developing empathy while having multicultural children from Canada also in our schools. Once a year we go to Canada, once a year they come to Mexico. And this is the closest or the approach we have with them, going from virtual learning or to real face-to-face experience. They develop consciousness toward common global issues and design ways to engage larger audiences to the topic they consider a global issue in global arenas, in real-world situations, through this transmedia strategy. And also they produce content to share and engage with learning in these areas that we call topics or subjects that our mandatory curriculums curriculum, the curriculum we cover as teachers, included in these projects. So our students today can teach while they are learning, but they teach what they know in a project that considers global scenario. So they participate in project design. They participate in designing their own projects. They become responsible for their own learning and performances, producing narratives and sharing. Students reach, while producing narratives and sharing, students reach higher mental processes. According to the Bloom's taxonomy, the higher level is when you can produce and evaluate your work. And it is not about a teacher testing or a government applying standardized tests. It is about how a student can communicate what they learn or what they think, or how they can help others in a global scenario. They learn collaboratively, so they can also develop like writing and oral language. They share their knowledge and produce. And while they reach this higher level of evaluating and producing, the more synapses in the brain are detonated. And this synapses will be there for lifetime learning. So if a student can discuss and build empathy from the beginning, from their early years, they are most likely to perform, not in the future, but today. And also they will have the tools, the necessary tools to communicate, or to have a job, or to reach higher school level. Here you can see that they are building their own knowledge, but also keeping in mind that they need to develop their knowledge, their skills, and their abilities. This, you can see that they can make interviews to other school systems, like in Canada, like in New York. We have been making other connections, as in Spain or as in England. And sometimes it's not just like students make conference calls or Skype calls. They also make videos, because of the time zone, sometimes difficult to connect. So they make videos and they share with other countries. Every grade or every level in the school has a social media group or channel. So every kid can post on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and they start from the very beginning, very young, to practice communication skills. But also a very, very important skill is how to listen to others. We all talk about how our students can perform in writing, in literacy, in including grammar, spelling, literature. But very few times we think about how we can receive, or how we can listen to others, or how we can embrace other cultures. to understand how we can even sell a product. So it's where it becomes important to know about cultures. So students need to understand the importance of developing this consciousness about other cultures. So there it's when we integrate history and culture, and they make research about other countries' tradition, religion, geography, language, politics. So they recognize themselves as citizens of the world, and they start being empathic with others. Here you can see our students can also take notes and make questions through technology. This is one of the posts our students make about what they learn about other countries, how they learn about the economy, how they share through social media. And as I talked before, for me, one of the main things to be considered in a global, in a common core global standard will be empathy. Empathy is one of the most complicated ability to develop in the human brain, because it needs to connect several brain pieces, as I can say. So it's not most adults for them it's difficult to have this kind of empathy because it was not developed in the first years of growing. So developing empathy in the first years will make students understand better and perform better in global arenas. That is why at the beginning of this session, Steve talked about that I'm interested in developing cognitive and non-cognitive skills, because it is not just about learning content, but also developing new skills and abilities. And empathy is one of the most important for me to consider if we could talk about what is important in a global standard. Also, art. Art is a very important part of the human being. So through art, students can communicate a lot. As I said before, our projects consider making a whole campaign around a social or ecological issue, and art is part of this. Through art, students can make it possible to share what they think and what they learn, and also can understand others through the visual arts. Deliberating. Deliberating is also a very important part of this. It is not just to state what kids need to learn. It is important to consider what they think it is important to learn, what is important to them for what they know. It's an issue around their community and then around the world. Through technology, they are very close to what is happening around the world. So it is not just about the knowing how to perform well in math, but also knowing what is important for them to learn and how to perform with others, how they can be active learners and teachers. So deliberating is a process where kids can think about what is important for them, for their families, for their community, and then integrating other communities or other countries to decide how to address the issue they consider is important. There it comes, group discussions on global ecology, for example. So online, they can communicate and make others participate in their projects. Teachers guide this kind of discussions. In our school, each group, as I said before, choose after all this process something to address. So some groups discuss about social issues as women's rights. Others talk about bullying. Others talk about global warming. So the whole school year, they integrate what they are learning in how they can communicate through these stories or narratives by multi-platforms, and how to make others know what they are doing and how they can be engaged with their own cause or their own way to address these problems. They propose solutions. That is the most important of all of this. It is not just like policymakers or the government or the teachers or the principal who needs to dictate what to learn. Kids are conscious. Once they are conscious, they can propose how. Maybe it's not what to learn, but they can participate in how they can learn. So through this strategy, transmedia storytelling, students reach performance and productions consider not only textbooks or written material to deliver the issue they are working to, but also international interviews with people around the world through Skype conferences, Facebook interviews, as well as person-to-person experiences. Art and literature and movie making are part of this. So students design this transmedia activism campaign at the end, well, through the school year. This also goes to develop their emotional and social learning as for me, the most important part of this global, common global standards that we as different countries need to consider. So students perform to an audience larger than the classroom. They produce commercial after having movie-making lessons. They promote their videos in YouTube using social media to reach larger audiences in the classroom. They share their opinion with the world with experts about human rights or about ecology, and not just with children of their age, but also with experts or adults from other countries. So they can communicate, they can break this kind of barriers that we are facing today in each one of the world's countries. Also integrating parents and integrating teachers, it's a big task because they need to know what kids are doing and how they can make this change possible. These are like one of the exchanges we make with Canadian students, that they are not just Canadian natives, but also they are from India, from China or Japan. So our units are designed with the goal of making children understand and develop empathy to other cultures around the world and their own culture, producing, sharing knowledge and benefits, cognitive and non-cognitive skills. So for me, making this proposal about considering common core global standards is a need, and we can make it possible. We don't need to wait until policymakers do this for us. We as teachers can do this change in our countries, in our schools. We can connect, we can propose this kind of projects, so we can integrate our own countries' mandatory standards to what the world really needs. I don't know what do you think about it? I hope this is interesting for you. I'm sorry about my English. I'm a little and I don't know if you have any question. Thank you. And do you have like doubts about it? How, or what do you think about? Have you do the same in your own countries? For me, the most important thing was to not just to benefit one class, but make it possible for a whole system, like every class from the very beginning, from very small kids to elementary kids, can do the same, so they can communicate. Yeah. Yes. Celeste, do you want to say something? I don't know if I would love to be connected with all of you if you have a particular area in your school, and we can connect with my students. Our school is bilingual, so our students perform in English and also in Spanish. So they know they can communicate in both languages, because their goal is to give a message to the world. So I said that the teacher doesn't grade them anymore, but the world assesses them today. And also, I think that together we can make it possible to have like viral learning through these transmitted strategies. If our students can benefit of our way of teaching and making them this kind of projects, and considering that this global common core standards can be for all of us, from Mexico to Japan or to Africa. And I think we all have the same issues. We all are concerned about the same, because we all are human beings and we all think the same. We are all concerned about caring, about love, about earth, about others. So if we all are in education, that is because we love humankind. So it was very nice to talk to you, and well, thank you.
I'm going to jump in and say hi because I came in a little bit late. Hi, Maya. Thank you so much for coming and presenting tonight. We really appreciate it. I know it's late for you after a busy day at school.
No, I'm enjoying very much. I was like looking forward to this today, and I hope it was well, interesting for you to know about what I have been doing and to share. For me, it's like an amazing opportunity to know a lot of amazing educators around the world. So you make a wonderful job gathering us. Thank you very much.
Oh, it's been our pleasure, and I think it's really good for other teachers to see these examples of really authentic, creative work on the parts of kids. I think it's super important. Here, I have one question for you. If a school wanted to collaborate with you guys in some way, how could they go about doing that? Do you have any particular projects where you're looking for partners, or should they just reach out to you? You know, if somebody wanted to kind of get to know your school better, what would they do?
Of course, they can email me. I think my contact information is at the beginning here, and also by Twitter they can contact me, and I have been running a lot of this kind of projects through the whole school year. So in any subject any teacher is interested in sharing with us can be part of this school year project. Even in reading, we also make like global reading. So we are reading about other countries, other books, and it would be very nice to have perspectives from others. So if they can contact me, I can write here my email. I'm sorry. Okay, you got it?
Yes, I see it at the bottom. That's great. I should also point out that you are a Apple Distinguished Educator, as am I. And for those of you who don't know about this program, at least in the United States, it's offered every other year to teachers who are using Apple products in interesting and creative ways. And about 50 teachers in the U.S. get it every other year, and they've really expanded this program globally in the off years, in the alternating years. And so I'd say there's probably, I don't know, 2,000 of us at least now around the world, and we get together every summer for a summer institute that's pretty powerful. And I had the opportunity to meet you in person this summer.
Yes.
And that's what led to this. So if anybody's I think every teacher needs to be part of a community like that, whether it's, you know, through our network and Not So Elite, or through the Discovery Ed program or whatever. And anyway, the Apple program probably in the United States will, I think they're probably going to open up their applications, I'm guessing. There's nothing official yet, but like in January or so. So if you're interested in this kind of thing, you know, keep your eye out for it. It's changed my life, and Mayus, I'm sure it's changed yours too.
Yes, yes, of course. It's amazing being among these educators, passionate educators as I am. So it's a great opportunity to know more and to integrate all these resources and ideas in our own schools for being better for other schools.
Exactly, and they also have, I don't think this is in other countries yet, but I could be wrong, they also have an Apple Distinguished School program that I believe that they are trying to grow more. And it's exactly what you're saying. It's if you know the school is an Apple Distinguished School, or at least has an Apple Distinguished educator at it, you know that there's some interesting things going on, and it's worth, you know, taking a look. You know, I'm a big fan of people looking outside of their own buildings for inspiration, and I think Apple's done a really nice job with that. You know, anyway, I could go on and on about it. If no one else has further questions, we need to wrap up shortly because we have a set of more presentations going on throughout the night or day, wherever you are. And I want you to encourage you to check out the schedule and go to your next session. I did post the links in the front page of our website to the next set. And just so you guys know, one of the sessions is one of my former students. And he joined he joined our community this week and has a web conferencing tool it's really cool. He's still in college, and this is a social entrepreneurship project of his. So if you're interested in that, that's coming Harbo in the next session. But anyway, Mayus, thank you so much for coming. We appreciate your time and your expertise, and I hope people will reach out to you.
Thank you for this. And I really enjoyed. I hope we can connect to each other and making this viral.